Hey friends, welcome to Simple on Purpose. I am Shauna, your host, your nerdy girlfriend and your life coach from simpleonpurpose.ca. If you're new here, welcome. To give you a little bit of a background about me, I am a retired health inspector. I quit that job after my second was born to stay home. I had 3 kids in 3.5 years, so who's going to pay daycare on that, right? So I am here, and as I stayed home, I started blogging, which moved into blogging about decluttering my home, blogging about intentional living. I took a life coaching certification. I started life coaching. I started podcasting, and now here we are a few years later. And I just feel like I've been taking the next step and the next step, enjoying the journey all along the way. It's actually gone a lot more differently than I ever thought it would if I look back and think of where I started when I was early in my motherhood journey. Now my kids are 9, 8, and 6, and all along the way, they've been walking through this process with me, this messy process of me trying to figure out where my place was and where I wanted to land and what I wanted to be putting out into the world. And I feel really honored that I get a chance to be here talking to you guys about these things that matter. Simplifying your home, your heart, your life, that matters. Living on purpose, that matters. It matters to me, and I know you are here because it matters to you as well. So my own philosophy in what I share at Simple on Purpose, in the life coaching I do in my program and in my private coaching, is that I want you to be listening closer to yourself. I don't want to tell you how to live your life the way I've done it. Might not work for you. I want you to be listening to you, to what's important to you, what's important in how you show up. What are you passionate about? What do you want more of? What do you crave? These are all things that are going to help you feel like you are living on purpose. So I'm sharing an episode today about simplifying, and we all hear that simplifying our home will bring us more peace. There's so many studies out there that talk about the emotional burden of clutter, the physical burden of clutter. There's research that indicates that when we can clear the clutter and get more order in our homes, then we feel less anxiety, less stress. It's true. These things are true that can happen. And, years ago when I started to dig into decluttering and I wanted to share this message, I probably would have shared that quite often with other moms to help you guys as you ramp up your own personal motivation to take a handle of your space and declutter. I would have just kind of stuck with this message and sent it out to women and simplifying your home can simplify your mind. When your space is clear, you feel better, because those are all true. But now I look at things a little bit differently, and this is mostly through life coaching moms who maybe label themselves as perfectionists, or they're very concerned about how their house looks, that we are looking for peace. We want a clear home because it gives us peace. We want to simplify because things are organized. We know where they are. We can come home and feel like people are welcome here. These things bring us peace. And here's the differentiation I want to make sure you're making. These things can bring us peace, but will they bring us peace? Because what I'm seeing is people who are really putting their self-worth in how their house looks, people who are feeling so anxious about how it is, people who are beating themselves up if their house doesn't look right or feel right at all times, like the standard is really, really high, or people who just feel ashamed that they can't get ahead. There's a lot of narrative going around for people when it comes to their house and how it makes them feel to be in it and how they're acting from that. Because can a clear house give you peace? Yes. Will a clear house give you peace? Maybe. It depends on how you're showing up. What it all comes down to, guys, is how we show up. How we're showing up in our attempts to get that. How we're showing up when it doesn't happen. How we're showing up when it's hard. How we're showing up when we've cleaned and the kids make a mess. How are you showing up? Because can a clean house bring you peace? Yes. But we cannot try and get a clean house at the cost of peace. We cannot do all of these things and steamroll ourselves and steamroll our families at the cost of what we're trying to get, because then what? Then we just feel like crap, and we'll tell ourselves that something is still wrong, something's wrong with us, something's wrong with our home, something's wrong with our families, because we didn't get that feeling out of it that we wanted, that we were trying to get. We didn't get the peace, but we don't see that we actually sacrificed it in an attempt to get it. I often laugh at myself when I think about the expectations that I had about what becoming a minimalist would mean in my home, about what decluttering would do to my home. I've even had people ask me, like, how much different is my life, and do I save money, and is my house always clean? And I'm sorry to like totally burst your bubble, but not really, not totally, at least not how I romanticized. It would be at least not what kind of Instagram sells us on or Pinterest sells us on. But it did change my life, and you can hear that in episodes 51 and 52. I cleared the clutter, truckloads and truckloads of stuff left our home. So much stuff had left our home, and I do feel better in my space. I feel more in control of it. I feel like I have a chance to make it what I really want it to be. But I still had to be mindful along the way. As I was decluttering those years ago, I could become a martyr over it. I could make a big show that it was a sacrifice I was making. I could villainize the people in my home for not caring as much as I did. And maybe there are some days I felt like this, but I worked to keep bringing it back to me. I wanted this. I was ready to do the work. This was an exercise in me learning to show up for myself. This was my practice in becoming a homemaker to my home. And then as we've done regular decluttering to maintain our space, or I've figured out a new way that I need to organize because the original way just isn't really working, or I need to learn a new life skill of doing dishes every day, that's episode 60, or I want to start to now teach my kids the life skills of taking care of their home too. That's episode 61. All along the way, I want these things because I want that peace and clear and simplicity in my house. But all along the way, I still have to choose how I show up through that process. If I said I wanted a peaceful home, I had to bring the peace every step of the way. And if I am someone who has struggled with peace before or patience before, I will keep struggling with it, even when I change the environment. And I am all for controlling what you can. You might hear me saying that whatever you do in your home, it doesn't matter. It does. What is in your control is worth addressing. Your home is in your control for the most part. And probably even for that little bit you tell yourself you're not in control of, I'm sure you could still find ways to address it if you pushed yourself. So I know the experience of changing your space, but I also know that you have to change internally too. You have to declutter your mind and your heart in the process. Have you ever been to someone's home and it is lovely? Like you can even maybe feel that little voice inside of you wishing it was your own home. But you get there and maybe there's just like this fight going on, or there's this weird tension, or these rules that you don't know that you kind of have to feel like you have to follow. That beautiful decor, that location, they're just overshadowed now by this kind of blanket of crappy emotion. It changes your whole experience of that home. And this is what we're creating in everything we do every day, in how we act and show up every day. We're creating an experience. There was a podcast I heard years ago, and I actually was looking for it. I couldn't find it. It was about leadership and this brand of this restaurant and hotel, and how they've developed really excellent leadership on the basis of creating an experience for their client. So they were talking about their restaurant in the hotel, its famous restaurant, and they explained how all of the components they put into creating an experience for the diners there. How they talk to you when they seat you, the exact amount of time you wait for your food to arrive, so it heightens anticipation as you see it come to your table, but before you get frustrated that it should already be there, to the lighting. Like everything is about the experience they want to offer people. Because it isn't just as simple as making a space look nice. It's about all the steps that create the experience you want in that space. So what experience do you want to have in your home? If you have the Life on Purpose workbook, this is called your vision. How do you want your space to be used? How do you want it to feel? And the thing about a vision is they're so empowering because all of the decisions you make now are filtered through this vision. You're constantly working towards it. Rather than just doing chores and decluttering for the sake of it, you're working towards this vision. And to me, this is a big difference in someone who embraces their role as a homemaker, which I think is a lost art, mostly because of the connotation we give the term homemaker. We've antiquated it, we've made it one of servitude, rather than one that is empowered and creative and very personal, very purposeful, and very passionate. So these are the takeaways I'm hoping you leave with. Your home can bring you peace. Like the studies show that a clear house does bring us mental peace. Those things are true. But what is also true is that we still need to show up to bring that peace. To make that happen, we can't chase a clear home, chase a simple home, try to maintain it at the cost of peace. The other takeaway I want you to have is doing the work in your home is worth it. It will teach you something about yourself. It is an exercise in decluttering your mind a bit more too. Changing your space matters. It matters. It's you creating a space you love to be in. I really believe that home should be a place we love to be. But all along the way, it also means bringing your heart forward. It means remembering how you want to show up, who you want to be in this space. If this is something that you're interested in taking to the next level, then I'd highly recommend you join the Life on Purpose Academy, the group coaching program, before September 1st, because this is what we're working on in September, reclaiming your home. This will be part of the fall series, which means I'm closing the doors for the fall while we work on these topics. Each month, I'll be teaching on the topic. The members will be using the Life on Purpose workbook to set out their plans for the month, and I'm going to be teaching and coaching you all along the way to help you take your ideas and your vision, put them into action. Even if you don't know your ideas and vision, I'll help you figure them out, but put these things into action well, helping you still show up with peace, purpose, and presence along the way, rather than chasing all these things at the cost of that. The topics we're going to cover this fall: September is Reclaim Your Home, October is Mom on Purpose, November is Showing Up for Love, and December is Connections and Friendships. So if any of these topics are of interest to you, and maybe you even have a Life on Purpose workbook and you feel like you've just never cracked it, or you've never really put legs to it, put action into it, this is a great place to do it. It's also one of my favorite communities to be a part of. It's very heartwarming, it's very warm, it's very intimate, and these women are here because they want to take action and they want to see each other succeed as well. It's just one of my favorite places to be. So if you want to be a part of this, even if you just want to come in for the month of September, come and do that. You're going to have to get in before the doors close on September 1st. You can find all the details at lifeonpurposeacademy.ca, because we're in Canada.ca, or you can just message me. I'm on Instagram at simpleonpurpose.ca. As always, it's a pleasure to share this podcast with you. I do love hearing from you. If you are on the Simple Saturdays email newsletter, make sure you hit reply and email me back, because I would love to hear from you there. And if you're not on the Simple Saturdays email newsletter, stop by the show notes and sign up there. Everything you always need to know is in the show notes. It's like the money's in the banana stand. The goods are in the show notes. So stop by there. And if you can't find the show notes, Google whatever podcast player you're using plus show notes, or just go to the website simpleonpurpose.ca, click listen, and you're going to find all of the show notes for all of the shows. Have a great week.